Hey, freedom seekers, let's talk. There's something that's really been on my heart for the last several years that I think is critical to those of us working to advance social change. And that is that over the last 30, 40 years, maybe even a little bit longer, there has been an expansion, a steady, often quiet, often unchecked expansion of an idea that says that corporations are best suited to solve the problems of our society. And so, friends, part of what this means is that our elected leaders, often with the support and pushing of voters, right? And even nonprofit leaders, right? Who are working to shift things, are doing so in ways that lead to more and more privatization of public services and public goods. Now, this is a problem because I think there's a fallacy in there that if we don't begin to shift the discourse around, will ultimately lead to our demise as a society, right? If Trump and the MAGA extremists don't take us down, I think it will be this phenomenon, this idea that government is not well suited to solve the problems of the people, that in fact corporations are better suited. And so part of what this has looked like, friends, is, the affordable housing, subsidized housing, public housing sphere is broken. No one talks about how it's broken because of years of disinvestment, often as a result of racism. But public housing is broken, and so let's privatize it out. Let's leave it to private landlords. And there's so much data that shows that services and quality of housing is lower in those spaces than it is when directly provided through public housing. Our education, our public education system is broken, and so we need to give people vouchers and choice and use public money to allow them to go into the private sphere. And we need to allow corporations to create charter schools as alternatives to public schools, and then funnel money that could be going to public schools to those charter schools, because those business leaders know how to create schools that will educate the next generation of leaders. In the healthcare field, it's the privatization of health services, right? It's the unwillingness to move toward a government-funded universal healthcare system, right? That would mirror what comparable countries are doing, right? And instead, we are insistent that we should leave it to the private market. That private market knows best, right? And this happens not just on those big issues at the national level, but I see this all over, right here in my community in Cincinnati, Ohio. In 2023, just last year, local activists were fighting, and I was among them, fighting for a ballot initiative to fund an affordable housing trust fund. And at the same time that this fight was happening, another fight happened that again included many of the same folks, right, who were fighting to oppose the sale of a public railroad. Now, at the time that this fight is happening, you got our elected officials, Democrats, right? Cincinnati is a very Democrat-controlled city, though corporately really funneled, right? A very business city. And so at the same time that you have these fights happening, you have our elected leaders telling us, no. We know that there are problems in the city. We need to fund more affordable housing, but we have a solution. We've actually created a commission to think about how to solve the city's money issue. Now, the coalition of activists and community leaders and social service providers, that were working for the Affordable Housing Trust Fund amendment, were folks who represented the people. The commission working to solve the city's money problem was not, right? It was a commission of corporate leaders. And in fact, it was housed at a corporation. So those meetings could not be public information. We could not do a request for public data and records because it was technically a meeting held by Western and Southern, not by the city of Cincinnati. And when you look at the commission, that commission was made up primarily of corporate leaders with one or two nonprofit leaders here and there. But it was the corporate nonprofits, it was the large, giant nonprofits who oftentimes end up functioning much like corporations, even in their attempts to do good. And so this commission, they spent the whole year telling the voters, don't vote for the Affordable Housing Trust Fund because this commission is going to put forth an amendment for a tax that will help solve all the problems. And this committee, they're too narrow. They're just worried about housing, but we have more problems than just housing. And this commission is on the job. Give them a chance to do their jobs. And while they were doing that, they were saying, let us sell this public good, the only publicly owned strip of railroad. Let us sell this to a private entity. And don't worry, even though it's connected to the same strip where the spill happened in East Palestine and Northeast Ohio, don't worry, they will take care of it. We should trust, right? Corporations know best, right? These corporate leaders on this commission know best. And so fast forward, it's 2024. The commission report came out. And their solutions was what corporate solutions are. Privatize everything, charge more, not tax more because they don't want to be taxed. Charge more for services. Privatize the city's waterworks. Charge more and ticket more at meters and parking. Essentially, price gouge your citizens. Reduce the amount of services you provide. And then hand everything else over to us, right? And I think the phenomenon that led to the mayor and city council saying, let's create a commission of corporate leaders because they know best, I actually think is a dangerous phenomenon. And it is the reason that America lags behind our counterpart countries, right? And so, friends, if you're a change agent, if you are someone who is working to change the tide of things, I want to invite you to be attentive to this, to notice when it's happening in your community, to notice those moments when your elected officials are asking you to trust in the private market to provide a public good. By definition, friends, things that are pertaining to the good of the whole, right? To the good and the well-being of the public ought to be in the hands of we the people, the democracy, the governing entities. In part because if profit is your motive for healthcare provision, you will shortcut your service. You will exploit your workers in order to maximize profit, and you will price gouge your customers. That's how corporations make money. Minimize costs. Personnel is often the biggest cost, right? Charge as much as the market will humanly allow, but in our current predicament, most corporations have monopolies. Even when we have the illusion of choice, there's often umbrella companies that own 6 or 7, 20 brands. So there's really not choice. They're literally setting the standard of the market. And so reduce costs. Charge as much as the market will allow while managing most of that market and setting the price. And provide as little service or quality of product as possible as you can get away with to maximize your profit. And so the onus is on us to say enough. The onus is on us to shift and to proclaim that we believe in we the people. We believe in our collective capacity to care for the well-being of our communities. It's time for a change, friends. Until next time.